Sunday. So today we're going to talk about something a little different. Yesterday we talked about some tips on doing some modification with watches. You know, it's a subject that comes up a lot, so I wanted to touch upon that. But today we're going to be talking about YouTube. We're going to be talking about talking watches and, you know, getting a channel going and aspirations for that. Because when I make contact with a few enthusiasts, that comes up. And I think that, you know, with us all collecting, we all have the urge to document, I think, at least. I think that everybody feels like they have an opinion, of course, right? There's so many different watches, there's so many different companies, there's so many different styles, there's so many different things that you can go about it. So obviously we all have an opinion to some degree, and I think that somewhere down the line everybody at least dances with the idea of thinking about doing YouTube and talking about watches and everything else. So it's something that I want to touch upon. It's something that I want to talk about here. But first, let's do a wristwatch check, of course. I just got the M5 sent over to me from Mark Time. And this is a watch that he's going to be doing a new release for in the winter time. But he did send me this prototype so I can work on a review. And we're working hand in hand, man, as far as getting some information out there for this watch and for the watches that he has. And collaborations have been a blessing. That's something that I've been very fortunate to do, I think, very early on. I want to thank you guys, of course, for making that happen. You know, all the support that I get from you guys. It wouldn't be possible. It is kind of difficult, and that leads us into the conversation. But, you know, first thing I want to talk about is some videos that I've been seeing coming on. I'm really happy, you know, specifically Teddy B. You know, we all know that how he's now transitioned into opening up his own AD and talking about more higher end watches. And it's nice to see him, you know, go back to not the basics, right, but not forget about talking about affordability. And he released not only the video just before the last, also the last video, there are some affordable watches being talked about on his channel. So it's really cool. And I think he just did a video again the time before last talking about sub $100 watches. So it's really nice to see Teddy B really still talk about affordability in watches and go back to that. Another thing is a newer channel that I found. I forget the name of it, man, it eludes me, but it was what was really nice to see about that channel is that he had his daughter on there and they were talking watches. You know, bringing the youth into it is something that I always often find very important. Good afternoon, Oscar. What's going on, brother? So it was really nice to see a newer channel. I'll put it in the description of that channel that I'm talking about. It's in line with some of the things that I think is very, very crucial to talking about watches and doing this whole watch thing, right? We have to get the youth involved, right? And in his channel, he had his own daughter. She had her little collection. It started off with an all gold watch. So that was really cool. That was really nice to see. You know, talking about YouTube channels in general that cover watches, you know, just fresh for today, for Sunday releases, it's really nice to see, like I said, Teddy B going back to the basics on, you know, covering affordable watches, seeing youth being on there. But something even more important, man, the reason why I really wanted to jump on here for a little bit, I don't know how long I'm going to stay on. I just really felt motivated to talk about this because it is pretty important. Trap, you know, you all know Trap Vision 3D. He's doing a thing for veterans, right? So he's giving awareness to veterans. He's taking donations, and 100% of the proceeds go to vets that just need help. And he's actually doing a live today, and it's already in the description to the live that he's doing. So, you know, I think that's a beautiful thing. He's obviously have served this country as well, and he's taken his YouTube channel and has used that to do something good, man, just to have a good cause about it. We all love talking about watches, and it's fun coming on here and just talking about what's the newest, what's the latest and greatest, what's the most affordable, what can you get sub 100, what can you do this, what can you do that. But what's even better, what's even more special is when you take your channel, you take your outlet, you take your resources, and you do something like how Trap Vision 3D is doing. So guys, if you're watching this on the playback, and that's being released at 7:30 p.m. today, Eastern time. So if you're watching this and you just so happen the time hasn't passed yet, pop over to Trap Vision 3D at 7:30 Eastern time, where he's going to be going over some of the things about what he's doing for the vets. Actually, his last live, he was covering that in depth too. So if you have some time, click over to his previous live where he's going into depth and talking about that. So that motivated me, man. I left a comment on his last live saying, you know, I'm still jumbling with what I want to do completely here with this channel, talking about watches, of course, but making it serve a higher purpose, right? And of course, my motto is everybody's accepted on this channel. You know, I'm trying to combat some watch snobbery that's out there. I want everybody to feel accepted, welcome, and part of the community, no matter how they decide to collect on my channel. But more importantly, I want to do something like how Trap is doing, right? He's taken his channel and he's put some focus on some pretty important things, man. Like people who serve the country and who don't have resources and the government's kind of failing them and whatever the case may be. We're not going to get political on this channel, but you know, just taking his channel and doing something positive with it is definitely something that I'm looking to do, you know, all together. So, you know, I'm still dancing with how I want to contribute and how I want to fit into that mold, but what I could do now is tell you guys to definitely check out his live that he has at 7:30 talking about the vets and all the things that he's doing for them. Trap Vision 3D, it's in the description, the link to the live that he's doing. So I wanted to make sure that that message gets across. That being said, I got this watch in yesterday. Mark Time sent me the prototype for his M5. And I also have the M4 to this watch, which you guys probably have seen in my watch posts. And there's a lot of changes that have been done. If you notice, if you look closely, like when I first got the impression of this watch, and if I show you real quick and you look at the bezel, you're thinking fluted, but it's not fluted, but it is nice and elegant. What my man did here today with this model, so in the M1.2, which I know for in the Prototype 4, which is not going to be available anymore, what he did is he did a minimalistic style dial, right? There's nothing on there, but on the border of the dial, past these indices here in the corners, there was braille, right? There was braille bumps. There was 4 of them to represent the minutes. For those, listen, a lot of people like minimalistic watches, but they're hard to read sometimes, and that's what puts people off. So him being smart, I think it was intentional. He put the braille inside of that where you could set your time to the exact time that you want. And what he did from the Prototype 4 to the Prototype 5, so he removed the rotating bezel that he had on the Prototype 4, and he actually put those minute markers on the bezel itself. So instead of this being a fluted bezel, this is a fixed bezel, by the way, this doesn't move. He went ahead and put those markers on the outside for the bezel to give that kind of fluted bezel look. And then the crown, what I've noticed is the difference is this is no longer a screw down crown. This is just a push pull, which is fine. Because what I think what happened was, I think he made the Prototype 4 and he made it more for somebody who is more like me and probably more like you. You have a bunch of tool watches, you have a bunch of divers. And Space G, what's going on, brother, man? If 15 million account will be banned. Yo, these trolls, man. These trolls are, they don't sleep, they don't eat, man. They just stay on here. What I think he did was he took a desk diver, right? A more artsy type of style. Go to Mark Time Watches, his website. You'll see what I mean for the Prototype Tour, Prototype 4, which is no longer available. But I thought it was cool. Had no loom on it. Had a bezel that was unconventional, right? On his, not this one, on the Prototype 4. And it had a nice click to it. I believe it was 120 unidirectional, but he took that away, and I think that may have been because a lot of people were coming with the notion of, hey man, I'm into divers, but this diver doesn't have boom, and it doesn't have the conventional markers on the bezel for it to indicate the 15 minutes and everything else. So he probably received a lot of pushback, and you know, it's hit or miss. For me, it would have worked. I have divers that are, you know, fantastic loom, has everything that a diver really needs, 300 meters, whatever, screw down crown. I don't need another one. I don't need another one like that. I like the artsy type of thing. I like the focus on the desk diving. I like something to be unconventional and something to be kind of like a talking point. And I feel like when he took the M4 and he went to the M5, which is this guy right here, Prototype. He's releasing the new ones in the winter time through Kickstarter, which by then I'll have a review video talking about what I'm talking to you guys here in depth. The differences and how he went along with it. I'm not going to focus so much on the Prototype 4. I have that as well. I'm going to showcase it in the review, but the focus is going to be on this M5. And it's still a work of art, man. It still gives you that minimalistic vibe. We don't have loom on here, which, again, I know it's going to lose a lot of people off bat because a lot of people love loom, and if it doesn't have it, they may not even be approachable for it. But I think that it executes what it needs to execute. It's something outside the norm. We have a minimalistic style. Now, it has mark time on the 12 o'clock, but it's very, very small. As you guys can see, if I don't put it like all the way up to the camera, you can't read it. Even when it's on my wrist, if you kind of don't know what it is, or if you get up on it like really closely, you can't read what it is. Now, I'm talking heavily about mark time for a reason, because I really believe in the guy. I really believe, and we haven't met in person, but we did have a live where we had a chat and we went into depth for his brand and his watches. And I want to share something with you guys that I learned. I brought up the drilled lugs, right? I brought it up with him, and I asked him, does it cost more to have drilled lugs? And that was a general question. I wasn't trying to take shots at him. I was just genuinely curious if it costs manufacturers more to put the drilled lugs in, because then I could kind of wrap my mind around why the watch not having that feature, right? And he said no. Right away, he snapped to it and said, no, it doesn't cost more. I said, okay, cool. I said, why not drilled lugs into the watch then, into this M5? He said, because I don't want to. And then he just paused. Now, inside, I was a little taken back, but I love the fact that he planted his heels on it and he just said it like that. And he gave a little bit of an explanation after. He said, it messes up the continuity of the side of the casing, where you either want that or you don't want that, as somebody stylistically putting their watch together. And you know what, man? I put more thought into that. I was like, you know what? That makes sense. And I'll tell you what, I'll tell you another thing. As much as of a convenience drilled lugs gives you, I thought to myself, why am I so fixated on getting drilled lugs? Is it really that hard for me to grab the tool at this point in time? I mean, I'm putting watches together from scratch. At the point in time that he's selling most of his watches, he's probably selling them to people who've had the conventional style and know how to change out the strap. So is drilled lugs necessary? And does it also interfere with the case design if you are, you know, brushing the sides, polishing it, whatever you want to do, and you want to keep that continuity? I think so. I think that's an argument to be made. And it made me go into my thought process and really think about it and respect him, number one, for planting his feet and telling me because I didn't want to. And also, number two, really made me think about, okay, listen, we love what we love in the features of our watches. We have an expectation in quality of build. That is a solid argument that you'll never see. But are the things that we proclaim we have to have in a watch always necessary, right? Are the things that we say, oh man, I wish it had drilled lugs? I've changed my mind completely on that, guys. I'll be honest with you, because I'm like, I know how to use the tool, and is it really necessary? I don't know. Let me say what up to everybody here. Oscar, again, what's going on? Space G's in the building, Mr. Watch Crunch himself. I'm honored, I'm blessed. Who else we got in here? Hey, Monk. Monk is in here? I don't see it. Oh, Thelonious Monk. What's going on, brother? Good morning. Well, good morning, good afternoon for me. Not that Mercedes indexes, which are in almost every watch. Yeah, Oscar, that's one of the things that I talked about yesterday too. I think you were in here, and yeah, the Mercedes hands, that needs to get left alone. I think, in my opinion, man, it's kind of tiresome to see that form doesn't always follow function in his mind. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. And further than that, man, so check this out. This is what he's done with the bracelet. He's made quick release, right? So all that drilled lug nonsense that I had in my mind, it's like, he's thought of that. And he's given us something that really, you don't need it, right? Now you don't have holes on the side. It's not an eyesore, if you will. And you have the quick release here. Now on the bracelet, and you could see the progress from Mark over time, just, you know, different iterations of the bracelet, doing the quick release that he has here. You know, that's super important, because for me, when it comes to summertime, I still want my bracelets, and I'm pretty sure people feel the same way. Now, that being said, your wrist is going to expand, obviously. So I think that moving forward when it comes to brands, when it comes to bracelets, yeah, we have the finishing that we want to look for. This is like a smaller H-linked style, which is very nice, brushed and polished. Brushed and polished, yeah? Or is this all brushed? Let me tell you right now. I think this is all brushed, just the way it was hitting the light before. But the point is, having that little bit of an adjustment for your wrist, which I've already used on my walk today in the humidity, very nice, very easy to work with, comes apart. Matter of fact, let's do this. Since we have the quick release, I could just take that bracelet off and I could show you guys different parts of it. And I want to highlight this guy, man. I really do like Mark. He actually just jumped on Watch Crunch too. He just made a profile. Now, I will say this, on his profile, he's got to upload pictures, obviously. He's got to brand it to his account, but he's also got to reach out to Watch Crunch to get that green little check mark so we know that he's a business. But I fully endorse him. I fully get behind the brand, and that's why I'm talking about it here. So this is the quick release bracelet that I'm talking about. Clicks in, very nice. We have some engraving there. It's done very elegantly, still with that minimalistic type feel, right? And yeah, we have that quick adjust that we need for the expansion and everything else. You know, doesn't come out, clicks very in, very nice. The links themselves articulate very nice, very smooth, no sharp edges. So there's a lot of thought behind his watches, and I know this because what he does and what I like for Microbrands to do is he listens to us, right? He does these shows, he goes out there. Matter of fact, he's got another show coming up which brought up the conversation for Watch Crunch, and I told him, hey, listen, if you're doing shows, whether you're part of the show or not for the watch events, you need to get on Watch Crunch, or at the very least, you know, respectfully, he may be involved in other communities, but you guys know how we support the Crunch over here, because they have a section on there where you can, you know, put up your events, put up your watch meets and everything else. So if you're going to show up, you might as well maximize and at least let the people see what you're doing and what you're presenting. So you can see the progress in his watches over time by starting off with just pure passion and continuing that passion, but also listening to the community members on how he can improve. And that's something that he continues to do. So that was another thing I said too, man. I'm like, you know, forget about selling watches. It's all about selling watches, but more so brand awareness and also giving us enthusiasts more options and seeing exactly who's out there doing it and doing it well and how they're responding to the feedback that we're getting. Because I think that in the Crunch, you get good feedback, man. Like you could really, if you break down your watch and you give good pictures and you give good examples, people are going to give you the feedback of what really works for them and what doesn't. Further than that, listing up the events like that, we can meet up with you. You know what I mean? A lot of people like to meet up. Let me see what we're talking about over here. Even the rotor is different. Yes, I'm going to get into that, Oscar. You got a good eye over here. You got that sniper eye. Simple and to the point. Yes. I think the design is minimalistic in a healthy balance. I like, you see my Veneziano Rendendore Aventurina, I just like to say that. Super minimalistic, no indices, no indication. You have to guesstimate the time when you set it, and I'm all right with that. I like that. I have the, oh man, this brand always eludes me when I need to get it to my mind. I have the Movado Bold, which is also very, now on that watch, if you get very, very, very close up to it, it is just like a stamping in the dial where you can still see the indices, but on the Venetiano Rendendore Aventurina, there's none of that. You got the aventurine glass, you got the logo, and they kept it plain, and that's a different way to go with a minimalistic style. Now, when you do that, chances are you may get people that say, I can't set the time unless it's like 15, 30, 45, and 12 o'clock. I mean, on the hour, right? What Mark did, which I thought was intelligent, is he kind of balanced that out with this dial that is now fingerprinted all over. So let me clean that before I show you. We still get that very Bauhaus kind of minimalistic dial. Big, bold hands, which is pretty, I think that's pretty adventurous to go for. But also the indices are very big and bold. Now, in between, those spaces are obviously on the hour, and then on the outside of it, just to complement it, there are your minutes, right? So 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 4 minutes in between. Have a nice day. So leaving the dials still pretty plain, minimalizing that logo, making it almost like you can't even see it. Let me just change the time so like that you guys can see what I'm talking about. And then he's got the red tip. I like the red tip second. And it's only a one-way street on that. So a lot of different things that we're normally used to that we're not seeing here. Got the fingerprint on there again. That we're not used to seeing on there. And artistic, right? Artistic, something different, which is being original is very hard. I know a couple of people had told me that there are designs that are similar to it, but it's not something that you see all the time regardless, right? Welcome in, Sneaks in the building. Sneak the Wolf. Ayo, what's going on, brother, man? Talking about Mark Time. I was talking about YouTube a little bit earlier. We'll get back to that. I'll circle back. But, all right, so like, let's look at the case back now. Now, this is not even my official review. I'm still gonna do the standard long form, but I'm too excited, baby. I'm a kid in the candy shop. This came in yesterday, and I wanted to talk about it. You know what I'm talking about? So here we go. Case back, as you can see from the prototype 4 to this one here, we now have a see-through case back. We got a Miyota Movement 9000 series, so it's worth it. It's not super decorated, but Mark likes to put his mission statement on his watches somewhere down the line. And of course, it's going to be on the back, whether it be a case back or a see-through. And that is because his whole thing is Mark Time, right? Really enjoy the moments. Really take it in. Don't get so caught up. Don't get so lost in your head that you're missing out on the important things that are right in front of you that you should be enjoying and should be salvaging into your mind. Because here's the deal, man. We go around one time, right? And it's important not to get lost in work and too many things. So that's also super cool. And I think that that's also something different that we're not used to. And he's got a decorated rotor on here. Now, the difference also on here, Japanese heart, referring to the Miyota. He's got German love, of course, to the design. But what's different on this one is it used to say Philly, but now it says Virginia headquarters. So that was something that was cool. And then, of course, he's got that nice little rotor on there, which I think is nice with that little cutout. And then you have the outside of it resembling the dial markers, which I literally just realized right now as I'm talking. I tell the truth, baby. I'm literally just realizing right now that that resembles that. And then he's got Mark Time in there. It's kind of blurry. I'm sorry, but you guys are going to get a plenty of close-ups when it comes to my review. But very nice, man. Very nice. I love to see the movement. I love to see meaning behind it, the passion behind it. That's what really draws us in. So I have seen Space. I have seen another watch with similar indices, but their hands didn't flow together like this one does. Yeah. So that's where I also give him a lot of props, right? Because it takes balls to go with something so bold and really try to match that up. Now, the thickness of the hands are the same thickness of the indices going around. So I think that's really nice to keep with the continuity. But again, another bold move, zero loom, okay? Zero loom. Now, is he gonna lose people? Maybe. He's got other models that have it, like the M12, which is absolutely phenomenal with the BGW9 at night. Oh my Lanta. Did I release that video yet? No, it's coming out, but that loom looks, like, imagine the hands and the indices of this dial were packed full of BGW9, and imagine that at night. Like, it just looks like a spacecraft just landing, like a space invader type thing landing on your wrist. You know what I mean? So, but I like that it doesn't have that, man. I like that it doesn't have loom. I like that it's more refined. I believe this one is also smaller than the M4, so he did go to a smaller size. I believe the other one was 40. This one might be 38. Don't quote me on that. I may be wrong. I should have came up here with more knowledge, but you know how I do, baby. I learn as I go. But I know that it's smaller for sure, and more refined. I love that the bezel gives you that fluted bezel type of feel, but it's not. It's really for the indices. The crown is no longer a screw down crown, it's push-pull. We probably lose a couple of meters water resistance on that. I'm not sure about that either, but at the end of the day, he stepped away from this being a diver and more of a dressy, more of a sporty type dressy, if you will. And I love that. I love that. That plus the bracelet of this watch makes it super elegant. And I'm loving and digging the size of it for sure. So he's going to do a release, like I said, in the wintertime for this watch. It is going to be on Kickstarter. And I'll keep you guys in the loop. I'm right now recording this watch, getting all the B-roll, getting all of the scripting that I do, you know, getting all the things right as far as the information goes on the watch, of course. I am going to feature, like I said, the prototype, the M4, but it's not going to be the focus of it. The focus is going to be more so of, because I'm trying to show also like the transitions that he has done getting up to this point, and I know that he's not done. I know that there's probably a whole bunch of things that he has spinning in his mind, but he's got to lock it down. And his question to me during our interview was, you know, I'm now Mark Time, Skylar Time. What would you do next? And I gave him titanium. I thought that that was the right thing to say. Would I change my answer to that point? Would I change my answer, or would I add to that? As of right now, I would say that offering a titanium is probably the only other direction that I would go for his watches on the next move. But perhaps maybe also coming into a new design with that, right? And just, I would say stay true to whatever design that you want to do moving forward. Again, I love the fact that there's no loom in this. I think that that's a bold move, and I'm all right with that. At the end of the day, we all know that we have our phones and everything else to take a look at it. So, hi, yo, Silva, hold on now. I don't know much similar indices. I read that. All right, everybody's saying hi. Yo, what's up? Sneak the Wolf, what's going on, brother, man? I appreciate you coming in. So yeah, man, going back to YouTube, man. So I wanna say this. We spoke yesterday about doing custom designs. It's something that I get a question about a lot. Oftentimes it'll be direct messages, or it'll be a comment off of a video that I did, and I gave some game on how I think it should be. You know, I'll put this bracelet on later. I gave some game on how I think you guys should go about that. If you're dancing with the ideas, and there's different levels to where you could start, right? You could start off on very easy, you could start off on medium, and you could start off on hard. Today, the topic matter is going to be more on YouTube. Now, here's the deal. I haven't been doing YouTube a very long time, not at all, not even a year, right? We're at 6 months, I believe. But it's a good time for me to document exactly what advice I would give right now versus waiting 10 years and thinking that now I have the right to talk about it, right? Because at the end of the day, I still walk through the door. I've still gone through a lot of process. I've gone through a lot of upgrades as far, I think, in the quality of my videos and just what it's like, what it looks like, right? Depending on what you want to do when you want to step into going on YouTube and talking watches, all will dictate of how I think you should navigate that. Now, a lot of people who have reached out to me and asked me about, not so much asked me, they said, hey, I was thinking about coming on YouTube and talking about watches. It sounds interesting to me, but I'm kind of apprehensive to getting feedback, not being good enough. What else do I get? Just being embarrassed kind of on, you know, how good or what, if they have something to say, if they're outgoing enough. Here's the deal. I think, in my opinion, everybody collecting should get on YouTube, make an account, and record yourself, whatever you want to record, whatever thought you want to say, whatever you want to document, whatever you think would be like fun for you to put into this digital journal, if you will, and look back at, right? Because it may just be for yourself, right? You may just want to be recording stuff where you can say, okay, I don't have to take up the memory in my phone. I could save it onto YouTube, and I could document how I feel right now today, and then I could look back and see in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Now, that being said, you might say to me, yeah, Skylar, but I don't want my stuff out there, and I'm not really good in front of a camera, and I don't want to be embarrassed. Here's the deal. You don't have to publish your videos, right? You can set it so like that anything that you upload comes up as unlisted, or comes up as, what's the other word? It's unlisted and it is private. There's a difference, right? Private means nobody sees that video but you. Unlisted means that the only people who are going to see that video is the people that you send the link to, okay? So if you have been dancing with the idea of talking watches on YouTube and you feel like you can't be as good enough quality, and we're gonna talk about that too, and you don't want the world to see it just yet or not at all, there's an option for that. So that's why I gave the advice of everybody who has any kind of inclining to just jump on the camera. And you could just do something like this, right? You could just sit outside, don't have to be live, put your camera up, get your collection out, and just say, hey man, I just did this collaboration with Mark Time. He sent me this watch. It's something that I'm really gonna enjoy. I'm gonna give some feedback. I'm gonna write some blogs. But it's something that you don't want to put out on the internet. You don't want to publish that video. But now YouTube saves that onto your account. And then now you can go back a couple of years later and just see what your digital journal was on that, right? Very nice and easy. And so that's my recommendation for anybody who doesn't want to publicize. Now, for the people who want to publicize, it's a little bit deeper of a conversation, right? It's more so of what are your intentions on coming onto YouTube talking watches? Are you trying to build a channel that has 200 subscribers, 200,000 subscribers? Are you looking just to start a hobby and wherever it goes, and you just feel like you have something to say and you want to contribute in your own way? And then it comes down to, so let's address the first one. If you're looking to get a whole bunch of subscribers and get more of a general population to like your videos, which is going to be a grind regardless, then, watches are not cheap, and getting stuff that is new and fresh and that's going to attract the masses and new collectors and stay with the times is a difficult thing, right? Unless you have a bunch of money that you're going to dump into buying a whole bunch of watches to stay relevant, then it comes down to collaborations. Now, that's a double-edged sword, right? Because if you're not established in a business aspect for the person that you want to collaborate with, they're going to say, well, how many people are going to see the video that you're making? What is the quality? Are you a type of person that shoots good B-roll and is going to represent the watch the correct way? Can I trust you with the watch? There's a lot that goes into it. And I don't think that the people who have asked me, knowing that I haven't been on here for a very long time, think that they're going to get advice during that road, right? Because obviously I don't think that people feel that I'm on here to get a crap load of, subscribers and just try to play the numbers game, because that'll drive you crazy. And I'm kind of like, I'm not, pumping out so many videos a week. I'm only doing once a week, and I jump here on live and everything else. And it's more of a learning experience. It's more of me documenting. And yes, I do want to build a community. But I'm good with slow and steady. I'm good with, I feel like in my heart, 600 subscribers already blows my mind. Like, there's 600 people that want to come up here and watch me ramble. That's insane. So I'm super grateful, and I've already reached the goals, but I don't know where this journey is going to take me. And it was a question that Mark asked me, and even Trap asked me at one point, and I'm just a kid in the candy shop. Wherever it goes is wherever it goes, and I'm having a lot of fun. But to the person that is not inspiring to make a full-time living off of it, let's say that, or even try to take a majority of their yearly income from YouTube and just want to come on here and really feel like, man, I have an opinion. I feel like I can inspire people. I feel like I know brands that are not so well known. And I thought of that example because on my last live, somebody, F Watch, I think his name was, in Watch Crunch, he's like, yo, man, I came across a company that is making 3D printed watches and building watches off of that, which I think is super cool. And that's exactly why I do this, man. Like, had I not have the interactions I have, I may not have ever known that. So, to the person that just wants to come on here and give some knowledge, give some game, share their experience, connect with a community. Yeah, man. So this is what you do. You jump on here and you just start talking. That's what I did. And if you don't believe me, look at my first videos. They're trash, respectfully. But I think what I wanted to do with that is rip off the Band-Aid. I could have waited till I got more familiar with editing software. I could have waited till I got more familiar with putting the orientation of the phone horizontally. But I didn't want to wait that long, man. I wanted to just jump in and then improve as I went along as well as I can and turn this into like a hobby, expanding off of just purchasing watches. And where I am today is nowhere near as fast, especially. Like, I'm not trying to gloat at all. I'm trying to tell you guys that I'm super mind blown on how fast that it progressed. Me just hitting record and then uploading that and then just going from there, right? So I didn't do any edits. I didn't have a great mic. The mic at the time was like $20. So if you're even dancing with the idea, there's multiple reasons why you should do it, and there's a greater importance why we need it as a community. We need to hear your voice. If you have something to say, we definitely should enjoy that, and we should definitely expand on that. And it doesn't have to be on a video, right? I'm not saying that you have to record yourself, and you could go on communities, you could put it in a post, you could make a blog, you could do everything else. But if you're tempted, if you're right on that edge, and fear, this is what I'm talking about here. Fear is the only thing that's stopping you of judgment and everything else. Don't let that stop you, man. And realize that you don't have to necessarily go public. You can write blogs, and the people that mess with your blogs, you can put a link, and anybody who's only reading your blogs and your posts from other communities are the ones that see it. Or leave them in private, and they're only for you. You're only documenting it for yourself. And you never know what that might snowball into. You may say, okay, cool, I've been doing a whole bunch of videos. I now feel comfortable, because now you've taken all of that pressure, if you will, off of your shoulders to like, I can't suck when I do this. And then you have like 10, 15, 20 videos deep, and then you're like, wow, I'm really getting comfortable with talking into the camera, looking into the right places. I messed around with some editing. Now I feel comfortable with releasing this video and going public with it and seeing what happens. You know what I mean? So that definitely would be my hot take on it. As I read some of the comments here, let me catch up. Or bronze. Oscar, he has a bronze watch. It is in the M1-2. It's the first watch that I featured. But I don't know if he has bronze in the M5. So that may be also another good thing to add on. Yes, adding bronze into the M5, I like that. Bronze, titanium, something still affordable. So when he asked me that question, that was another thing that came to my mind too. It's like, okay, we can't say gold, we can't say platinum, we can't say anything too crazy, because he's still within the, I believe for the most part, sub 500. Prices are going to vary once he re-releases, so keep in mind, that's why I'm not throwing numbers out, but he is still sub 500. We are talking about a Miota. We are talking about well-refined finishing for the casing. A unique design, drawing inspirations, it could be an argument. And I know that there's some watches out there that are very similar, but it's enough to stand on its own legs and be its own thing. What is your most unique watch? My most unique watch in the collection. I don't know, man. My most unique watch, I almost said my Venetianico Rendendori, but I know that a lot of wrists probably have that on now. In my opinion, unique, yeah, it's probably my Michael Kors. I keep coming back to it, man, but I don't see anybody rocking that fashion watch. It is a unisex watch, and I think that it was more targeted for women because it has diamond around the bezel. Not so much anymore, right? At the time that she bought it, we're talking 17 years ago, that was probably more a thing for women to have like those diamonds around the bezel, but that's probably my most unique watch in my collection is the Michael Kors diver that I have. True, I love the lume, but it's not for every design. Yeah, I love lume too, man. I love lume too, but it made me think about it that way too, Space. It's like this guy could have easily put lume on there, yeah? In the M1-2, he had lume, and he did it in a very good way. Very well applied, very heavily painted, right? There's layers on lume that dictate how bright it's gonna be. That thing could light up your bathroom. So he easily could have done it on here, right? He could have traded that brushed stainless look to lume, but he said, no, I'm not gonna do that. And for guys like me and you, we got a whole bunch of watches in our collection that have lume already. So do we need it? You know what I mean? Maybe. Maybe if you say to yourself, I love lume and I have to have it on every single watch, respect to you, but I like that it steps outside the norm and not having it. Matter of fact, now that I'm rambling, I believe my Venetianico doesn't have lume either. I may be wrong, I may be right, but I don't think that one has lume either. So listen, a lot of my watches, specifically, we all like divers, and 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times, matter of fact, 9.99% of the time, you're gonna have lume on it. So 1,200 figures on a titanium watch is my preference. Yeah, so he actually asked me that too, Lone Ranger. He was like, the follow-up question immediately after that was the grade, right? And I was like, that's on you. If it's too much price hike for a crazy grade, I would say go with the nicest one. Listen, you're already making a refined design. You're making it more on a dressy sports look and stuff like that. He'd always change that up on the next casing that he does, but I think with the elegance of his design, putting it on a higher grade titanium would probably match better. Does it matter? To some, clearly. Lone Ranger wants some Vickers on his. Is it 100% necessary? No. If it's going to make you go from a 500, no, probably a little bit more with titanium. Yeah, it's harder to work with, I would imagine. So I want to say it's probably like going to be around 650, 7, maybe. If that's going to jump you to a thou wow, yeah, keep it to the more, keep it in price range. I think that's more probably important at the end of the day. Daniel, if a video is live and it goes private out of nowhere, was I blocked? If a video is live and it goes private out of nowhere, yeah, you're blocked. You're blocked from that video. So that person no longer wishes to showcase their video to be in the public's eye. So I could right now change all my videos to private, and then my page would show up with no videos as far as that is concerned. So you're not blocked. He didn't block you and then everybody else, but he blocked it from the public's eye. Hot take: hardness coating will become the norm in 5 to 10 years. I think so, right? I think it's becoming, that's a good point, Space. I think it's becoming more like this quick release on bracelets, right? We're seeing that so much now. We're seeing that even on rubber. We're seeing that even on leather. I think that at a certain point in time, probably closer than the 5 to 10 years, maybe 3 to 5, it's going to be like, if you don't have that, then what are we doing right now? Like, you're just giving me the chance to scratch up the lugs. Yes, Oscar, that's for scratches. Yes, that is for, so the Vickers was for the tolerance of scratches is what he was talking about, which is really nice because, listen, I don't mind war battles on my watch, but, something for like at least like this bracelet portion, like this end bracelet, making that more of a hardness of steel or bringing the Vickers up on that so like that you get less of it, that might be the way. Now doing that, is it going to give you a different shine, a different sheen rather in the steel? So maybe you want to do the whole thing. I don't know, but that's definitely something that we need to see in watches more so often, because no matter what hardness you're putting on there, whatever coating, whatever grades, whatever Vickers, whatever the case may be, you're gonna get scratches no matter what. And I think that eventually people learn to just live with them. I don't mind them. If my watch beat up, it's just like, that was the adventure that I took it on, and that's the way it looks, and it makes it more personal. But I get the appeal to not have scratches on your watches and to keep it more clean. So, especially for precious metals, definitely. So, because other precious metals are sometimes softer, so you definitely gotta see growing food back. Gotta ask, are you growing and food back there? My mother has a garden. So if you're looking at, matter of fact, can I show you guys? Yeah, my mother has a garden, a small garden right there, and she actually grew some squash. I don't know if you can see it, like it's like on the bottom, it's huge. It's like on the bottom right corner of the screen. So she's doing very well. I'm not growing it. This is actually my parents' house. I came over to say hi and do this live and also get my cut because my old, how it is with barbers. You can't change your barber. You got to go back to the original one, baby. So I come over here to get a cut, and if I'm inspired to get on a live, that's what I do. But yes, there is some food being grown back here in New York City nonetheless. So I hate when my watches get scratches on it. Okay. So Lone Ranger, what do you do then? Because it's inevitable, no? Like that's like me saying, and I'm not picking on you, man. I love you. You're out here. You're supporting me. We're having a conversation, right? We're two gentlemen having a gentleman conversation. That's like me being mad at like New York traffic, like saying like, man, I hate New York traffic. Bro, there's gonna be New York traffic. It's gonna happen. So it's like, what do you do? My question to you is, what do you do then when you get like scratches on your watch? Do you like, all right, now I gotta buff this out, or I gotta change the bracelet, or I'm not wearing it to this event because it's gonna be kind of harsh? Like, I hate scratches. Would I rather it not? No, I like the scratches, man. I'm not even gonna lie. I like caricature. How do you say that fancy way? Caricature to it. I don't mind it. I don't mind it, especially if it's like an adventurous knock. You know, if I knocked it like, coming out of the bathroom of Starbucks, am I like, oh, war story? But if I'm like, going on a hike and I almost fell off a cliff and the bracelet saved me, and there's a big gash on it, now that's a story. That'll never happen. But it's a story. It's something for me to look back and be like, yo, I remember this time. And I think that's what the love of the war scars on your watch becomes for a lot of people, at least the enthusiasts that I've talked about it with. I need the Vickers. Okay, you so you probably roughhouse your watches, eh? You probably like do some stuff with it. If the watch is under $1,000, I will consider it. Okay, so wow, all right, so that's interesting. I'm glad you shared that. You put a high value, a super high value in people protecting the watches from the scratches. That's interesting. That's interesting. So you're good with sub 1,000 jump from like sub 500? So let me ask you this. This watch is going to be sub 500 when he releases it in the wintertime. Maybe a little bit more with taxes. I may be wrong on the price. Don't quote me on the price. But let's say this. Let's say it's $600, $700. So you're good with if he does titanium and he does the Vickers and he does the hardening and he does this, that, and that. Pause, no diddy. You're cool with him putting this at $1,000, under $1,000, $999. Let me ask you that. Just to get away from the scratches? That's crazy. I respect it though. What the hell is Vickers? Vickers is just the degree in which your watches, or at least the metal per se, can deal with not getting scratches after knocking it. So the harder it is, pause, no diddy, then the more it's going to be able to resist the scratches on it. Thanks, Monk. What are we talking about over here? It's a scale to measure the hardness. Oh, Monk. If this was the Wild West, you'd put a bullet between my eyes before I can get it out. Mr. Santana, what's up on a Sunday? Ethan, I appreciate you stopping in, bro. Just chilling, just talking about a bunch of things. I led off, so the guys that are pouring in now, I led off talking about Trap 3D's vision. See how I did that? Trap 3D's vision. Trap Vision 3D vision. So he's doing an important thing. He's gathering funds for vets. He's taking donations. He's doing a live today. He's going to do some raffles. He's going to do some giveaways. He's doing something to give back to the people that are really looking out for the vets who are not getting the attention that they need. Some of them are not doing well. They fought for our freedom. Take it how you want to take it. We're not going to get political, but I think that his channel has been from the very beginning of great cause. And I was very moved by his channel having that. So in the description of this video is a link to his live later today at 7:30. Tune in, and when I jump off here, we'll probably go about an hour, but when I jump off here, check out the video he did last. He's talking about it more into depth, and it motivated me because it's like, okay, cool. This is what I'm doing, and I'm sharing the knowledge that I have and vibing out and everything else, and this channel is very important to me, and it's very important to my hobby, and I want to give it meaning, but to give it meaning to that degree is something for me to aspire to. So I got the gears turning now. My wife is a preschool teacher, and she's very heavily invested in the investment in kids' futures, right? Starting from a very young age, we're talking preschool. So I may do something where me and her connect the dots and just may think of something that we could do towards, orphanages, kids that are in need and stuff like that. That's something that touches and resonates with me. So we'll see. There's stuff that I'm still dancing with, but my first thing when I jumped on here was talk about his mission statement, and I think you guys should definitely check that out and see what he's talking about. And whatever you can contribute, man, if it's $5, if it's $1, everything is very greatly appreciated. And and he's even giving back, man. He doesn't have to do that. That's really cool that he's giving away some knives and some watches and everything else. He's doing God's work, I appreciate him for that. So I just live with the scratches if it's there. Oh, but I would rather have the coating to prevent the scratches as much as possible. Okay, so you're like, it is what it is. If I really like the watch, if it doesn't have all those features in it, whatever. But if you want to grab my doll hairs from the wallet even quicker, if you have something featured there, all right, so good. I hope Mark looks into this. I hope that it's something that he is watching on a playback, if not anything else, and he hears that. He hears you, because I'm pretty sure you're not alone. I know that that's pretty much, I don't know if it's split down the middle, scratches, no scratches, but it's good perspective, and it's definitely different from my perspective, so I'm glad I got to hear that. Of course, I always evaluate which, Daniel, what's going on, brother, man? I'm reading a comment now. Of course, I always evaluate which watch to wear, what my day is going to be like, but I don't care about if they have scratches accidentally. It's life. Exactly. Nothing in life is perfect, man. Like, I got tattoos. I gone to an artist that makes zero mistakes, and he's like, he's transferring a perfect image onto my, even with my tattoos, I'm like, yo, I'm not gonna sit here and try to take apart what's wrong with it. Like, nothing in life is perfect, and I translate that to watches. And if I'm wearing it, the watch, you know, I'm setting it down, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, it's gonna pick up some, you know, unless I keep it in a vault and you just have it as a work of art, you know, I vibe with that. But at the same time, I respect the hold on guys, I'm sorry. I respect the collectors that, you know, I live down a block, man, drag racing's a thing. So I respect the collectors that don't want the scratches, or at least want the scratch resistance if it's an option. So if Mark is listening to this, there you go. Hey Skylar, I have a watch I worn all over the world. Lots of memories on that watch, dings, scratches, so on. Yeah, man, so J-Watch, you made me think of the travel watch that I have out there right now. So I'm also right now, actually I finished the review video of the travel watch that Ben and Watch is doing with about vintage. Um, those watches and the one that I built for his event separately is actually traveling the world. And some people went diving with it. Some people are just doing crazy activities, man. You see it in the snow, you see it in a dive, you see it, you know, going on a hike. Like, I'm not even putting the scratches and dents and stuff onto that watch, but I welcome it because I'm like, this watch has traveled more to other countries than I have. So when I get it back, man, that's going to be a pretty cool thing for me to say when I'm showing my collection to somebody. Hopefully it makes it back. If it doesn't, all well, it was for a good cause. It was for the community to have some fun. So it is what it is, but don't get any ideas. The last person that has it, you know what I'm talking about? Hey Space, okay, you guys are saying what up, J Watch. Yeah, J Watch, I actually mentioned you earlier. You sent me some information on that 3D printed watch, man. Cool stuff. Cool stuff, man. That is quintessentially the reason why I do it. Not only for my own gain, but hopefully I say something out here that jogs something for somebody else that would have never happened if I had not been up here. But Long Range, if I saw the battle scars on my vintage Boulevard Marine Star, it's probably beat the crap, huh? Lone Star, if the watch meets my needs and I like the functionality and the look of it, I would definitely consider it. Copy that. Copy that. Oscar, message retracted. Uh-oh. LOL, Space G. Space, you're talking to Space. Okay, the watches are very nice. Belova. All right, so I'm all caught up on chat. So yeah, man, that's pretty much where I'm in. That's my advice. You know, if you guys missed it, I pretty much talked about why I think that most people should be on YouTube in different capacities, right? There's different levels to it, and there's public, and then there's private, and then there's unlisted. And I think that resonates with a lot of people because they come on here, they see the lives especially, right? Or you see an up-and-coming channel like myself, and it's like, oh man, I really wish I could do that. And I get people who talk to me about it. And you could definitely do that without having to be in the public's eye, right? Just document your journal. Document your journal. Document your journey because you never know where it might lead you, man, because I definitely wouldn't think that I would be where I am today, starting from where I started. And I'm very early on. Again, I understand that I have limitations to the advice that I could give, but I want to give you guys game. Now, with that being said, in the transparency, I want to talk about So my journey and wanting to build my channel and the reason behind it, and also getting involved with microbrands like Mark Time and everything else. So what does that look like, right? You may not be on here and might want to start a channel where you're like, okay, I want 200K, but I want to get into collaborations. And what are the expectations? So I can only tell you this. I can only tell you the things that I've gone through. I've reached out to a lot of companies to do collaborations. Now, when I reach out to them, I by no means tell them that they have to give me a watch. By no means tell them that they have to pay me for the promotion. I'm trading my time to make a review of a watch. Therefore, we can all kind of get a better understanding of it if you are somewhat interested in it. Like the San Martin that I did, I think was something that I was really proud of, because I knew San Martin was doing good things. I did end up paying for that watch. That was a completely on my own type of venture, because I was just ready for that watch in my collection. But going back to my point, reaching out to companies and getting them to even respond is a very difficult thing. It doesn't happen a lot. I think that lightning has struck for me twice with brand owners, that being ProTech and that being Mark Time. Matter of fact, 3 times. Montreux, strap company, very important as well, something that I want to do. Matter of fact, I have to reach out to him very soon, because I want to get him on here. And that's something that we don't really see, right? We always focus on watches, but let's talk about some nice brands that are doing straps, right? Vario does that. He does a little bit of both. And I've done collaborations with him. Now, I've had people reach out to me and send me watches. Vario, ProTech, Mark Time. You guys saw my Tanderio, which I felt was important too. It's not necessarily a micro brand, but I'm heavily into homage watches, and bringing that out there and bringing my ideas on it, I think, you know, that's either hit or miss. You're either for it or you're not for it, but I feel like I needed to stress the reasons why I was for it and why that may resonate with somebody. And I think that there's an advantage of having such affordability in that realm. That being said, I've had now also, Nomoki, I just did Nomoki. Nomoki brand sent me a watch, they're sending me a kit. So that was pretty much the bulk of it, right? I gave you guys enough to count on maybe 2 hands. I've reached out to maybe 50 to, I want to say 70 brands. And often, most of the time, I don't even get responded to, which is cool. I'm just starting off. You don't know me for a hole in the wall. You may be looking at just bigger channels to benefit from talking about watches. I just reach out to them and say, hey, listen, I'm an enthusiast. I'm really passionate about watches. If you're willing to loan me a watch, because here's the deal, I can't bankroll every single watch that I talk about, nor do I want to. And if I wanted to bankroll the watches, it would just be the Addies Dive. It would just be all the watches that you guys know, Steel Dive, all the affordable ranges. And I don't want to just cover those watches. Those aren't the watches that I only desire and put in my collection, have experience with. Now, what happens when I get a watch that I think that is not of value that they claim for it to be, in my opinion? I haven't got to that point yet. If I really get up on here and I get a watch that is just it has a whole bunch of QC issues, it's really not up to par, I'm going to reach back out to the company. I'm going to tell them this: I'm willing to do a review, but here's the deal, it's probably not going to look good for you. I'm going to be very honest. I try and balance out all my reviews with the truth, and I will. There's going to be a lot of negatives when I release this video. Are you sure you want me to cover it? And then if they say yes, if they say no, because at the end of the day, they still deserve a chance to get that feedback from me and then come back with a better watch, right? Or maybe they just sent a bad watch to me and they're not all like that. I don't know. But I'm going to be transparent with them. And I'm also, if I put that watch on my video, it's going to get whatever slaying that it's going to get. If there's a heavy amount of negatives, then that's what it's going to be. I'm not going to sit up here and say, oh, well, they sent me the watch for free, so let me go light-handed on them. Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, one of my most popular reviews was on a strap from Watch Crunch, Max. You guys already know, I got a lot of respect for Max. I got a lot of respect for the Watch Crunch community. I still balanced out that review. I still said the things that I thought I needed to say, that I could be worried about it. and I wasn't afraid to put that strap out there as a review. It's gotten a lot of negativity, in my opinion, because a lot of people related it to be an actual NATO strap. And I guess that was what they were locked into their mind, and they said that the strap made no sense at all. But, without getting too far into it, the point was that I have a lot of respect for Max and what he's done as a co-founder of WatchCrunch and everything else. But I still, with that review, I balanced it out. I told you guys exactly what my impressions was and everything else. So no matter what happens, you guys are always going to get the truth from my reviews. I have to remain honest. I have to remain true to myself, and it serves zero people out there if I go on here and I just tell you guys a positive thing about a watch and there's a whole bunch of negatives. So my whole point when I went off on this tangent was that if you're going on here and you're talking about watches and you want to do reviews, getting the eye of these companies and getting their watches in are not going to be an easy feat if you are looking to have collaborations where whether or not you keep the watch or send it back, most of the time it's me sending the watch back. Sometimes they let me keep the watch. That's when you get my paid promotions. I have not received any money for making a review. I'm not looking to do that. However, I do have to, obviously, I'm gonna go with the flow. If I get validated from YouTube, 1,000, whatever the minimum required is, and I start getting money from the channel, it's gonna be towards purchasing watches that I can do for reviews that people that are not willing to send them out to me, right? And again, there's that mission statement that I talked about too with doing some of the money. I mean, at the end of the day, this is just a hobby and I'm just having fun. So it just depends, man. It just depends on how you want to get onto this space and what you want to do, what your mission statement is. But again, I reiterate, if you're looking to do it, man, I'm all thumbs up for it. I think we got to do it. Sorry, guys, I've been talking. HZ Watches has a presence on WatchCrunch. And they're a new brand that debuted to the WatchCrunch family. Might be a cool spotlight. Okay. I'll definitely take a look at that. Matter of fact, you just reminded me. So let's do this. Ethan, send me a link to their post about the watch brand that you're talking about and what you would like for me to do. That's definitely important to me. I want to cover whatever watches you guys want me to cover in the future moving forward, right? Now, I could use your help with that, right? I might as well turn to you guys and turn to the hardcore supporters that are listening to me rant more than an hour at this point. If you guys know of a brand that you really like, maybe I don't even know about it, and you guys could reach out to them and say, hey, listen, this is one of my favorite content creators. It's so weird to say that. I really like this content creator, and I would love for him to be able to do a review. He doesn't require to keep the watch, but I really think if you let him touch and feel the watch and he could do a review on it, I'd be interested to see what his thoughts are on it. Reach out to them for me, if you will. And I feel like a jerk asking or saying that, but honestly, this is what it's all about, right? We are only as strong as we are together. So instead of me just reaching out and going, man, give me what, you know what I mean? Like if they're saying, damn, his community is saying that they want to see him do the review. Okay, let me take a closer look at this guy. He may have only X amount, but there's obviously more towards the community that he's wrapped up in. So, not only that, reach out to me, send me a message to who you think I should try to go after and review things of like Ethan just did for me. I'll be taking a look at that, but Ethan, send me that link. And after this goes off, guys, if you're watching this in the playback, whatever brands that you think that I should cover, especially in the Microbrand, not limited to, in the Microbrand space, let me know. Put that as a comment down below. I also have my Microbrand marathon that I'm going to try to get back to, but I also have to do this interview with Montro that I'm very interested because the straps on those FKMs, man, I've been posting about it, but I got to do a dedicated review for him. It's really quality. I really do. I'm excited about that. I got to get behind it. And you can fart on your hand and eat it like a sandwich. Wow. We couldn't finish this off without getting the troll in here, man. We couldn't. And I'll read the comments, man. No problem. I'll read the comments. I'll send it to you on WatchCrunch. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, so guys, thank you for sitting with me for this over an hour segment. I appreciate the feedback. I need you guys. I need the feedback. I need your support, continued support. Like I said, if you reach out to brands for me, or if you just put me on to brands that I've never heard about. What I was saying before is that I have my Microbrand marathon where basically you guys watch me window shop, but it's still kind of fun. I know that there's a lot of people out there that's like, you don't have a watch, so I'm watching a video you about talking about a watch, but hopefully I'm entertaining enough when I do it. And I'm gonna get back to that. I have a list of, in the description of that series, of all the micro brands that I intend to cover. Please let me know of a micro brand, or well, in that case it's a micro brand. But let me know if there's a favorite micro brand of yours that's not listed on there, because I don't know them all. A lot of them pop up out of nowhere. Some of them are very good. That's only been less than a year. So, I need you guys, man. I'm only one brain. So, anywho, JD Watch, no, thank you, sir. It's my pleasure. It's my honor. This was a lot of fun, as it is always. Thank you guys for tuning in. And of course, guys, please don't forget, it all started with a watch. No matter where your watch collection journey takes you, no matter how you decide to collect, you guys are all welcome on this channel and in this community, as you should be. I appreciate you guys for checking in and looking at this Mark Time watch with me and the rants that we did. Have a lovely rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you guys in the next one.